You're listening to the Docs and More podcast with Lovejeet Dhaliwal. In this podcast, I caught up with Sean McAllister and Steve, star of A Northern Soul, a documentary about in-work poverty, whilst they were busy on their UK tour. I began by asking Sean about how the film started.
I'd come back to Hull to be creative director for the opening of City of Culture, and after doing that, the BBC and the BFI were keen for a film from Hull, and in that year leading up to City of Culture, I was looking at I was thinking about a film and looking for characters. To be honest, I've been looking for a bit of time before that as well, because it takes so bloody long to find a good character. And I was looking at what it was that I wanted to find, which was probably a story inside something of my own journey, really. And someone had recommended Steve, a friend of a friend, which is usually how I find characters. And funnily enough, when I met him, he'd been recommended to me, hadn't you?
I had been, yeah, by the same friend. A lady called Rebecca I'd done some music with. She said that Sean was looking for somebody to film and she'd put my name forward, and I didn't think anything else of it after that. And then I bumped into Sean at Fruit when he was screening A Syrian Love Story, and introduced myself, and then, yeah, the rest is history.
How did you find being filmed and working with Sean?
At first it was quite strange having a camera there all the time, but after a couple of months getting to know Sean, we became quite good friends, so I kind of forgot about the camera.
Sean, what is it that you look for when you're looking for a character?
It's by finding the right person that you're going to naturally get on with, and that's why it takes a long time, because I don't think you can just, for me anyway, I can't just film anybody. You have to find somebody that you're going to feel naturally inclined, that you want to hang out with. It can't feel like work. Making a documentary can never feel like work. You know you're making a good film when you're happy and you're going to film somebody, and you know there's something wrong when you're not.
Steve, can you tell me a bit more about your own journey?
I'd been trying to get my idea, the Beats Bus, off the ground for quite a few years, and I'd applied for different fundings and tried crowdfunding, and never had no luck really. So with the City of Culture, the company that I work for, Arco, they was major partners with them, and the chance for me to put my idea to life came along as I became a project manager for one of the seasons of the City of Culture, the Freedom season. So yeah, they gave me the chance to demonstrate my idea.
Did you feel that Hull, because it was a City of Culture, that it gave you a chance to do something, a little bit different that perhaps you otherwise wouldn't have done?
Oh, it was brilliant. Like, I'd been dying to do it for years, so for that opportunity to come along it was a dream come true to me. And I knew that once I put it into action, how successful it could be. So it was it was a chance of a lifetime kind of thing, I guess.
Now the film has actually been awarded 15 by the Censor Board and not a 12, which is I know is what you hoped for. Sean, when you first heard about this, what was your reaction? Because I believe they were actually counting the number of F words that were in the film.
Surprise and shock. I couldn't believe it, really. I never even thought about it. Had I known the rules, and had the rules been consistent and clear, I would have thought about it. But because the whole body of the film and the whole bigger message of the film is so positive, encouraging, or as kids say when they've seen the film, empowering and inspirational, you would have thought on balance that even the censors at the BBFC would take into account that and give it the certification I think it deserves, which is a 12. So we're having this struggle with them at the moment and applying to the local authorities wherever we go. And we were told at the beginning that you won't get anywhere because they'll all side with the BBFC. They have to, Well, actually, they've all sided with us. The one that sided with the BBFC, Bradford, have just reconsidered their original decision and overturned it to join us.
That's great news. So how many boroughs have actually overturned the censor's ruling so far?
I think we're up to 8 or 10, I can't remember. A couple of boroughs of London, but we've got like 8 outside of London. We're playing in Leeds tonight as a 12A. We're now playing as a 12A in Bradford, thanks to their second thoughts on it on Thursday. In Beverley, we're 12A, I think.
Now, I'm afraid, I've got to say, I am one of those people who can't really stand bad language. But I've got to say, I didn't even notice it in this film.
That's amazing. That's what my mum said. You see, my mum's in the film, and she's a Catholic from a very strict upbringing, and she really doesn't allow any bad language in the house. But she said, well, what bad language was in it? And she didn't even notice it, and if she doesn't notice it, but they must have just had the F count when they did it, and that's what bothers me a bit, because now it's been thought about as the swearing film, and as MPs have said when they've come to watch it in Hull, it's brilliant, but where's all the bloody swearing? Because they just can't, they're coming to look for the swearing now because of all of this baloney.
Now, there have been suggestions that because it is a working class film, that's why the censor boards have been kind of looking at it a little bit more carefully. What would you say?
I don't know. I mean, I did think it was... I think, if the British Board of Censors or whatever they're called are all upper middle class people, then maybe the working class world isn't their world. If they were from our streets as such, they might understand the streets as such and classify it differently, like they did with the swearing scene in the King's Speech, that they originally classified as 15 and reduced to a 12A. It might be that the real offensive word is the P word, which is poverty, that the actual display, sad as it is, of people's lives today is something that needs to be censored. I don't know if it's that, or if it's just bureaucracy, really. But it can't be just bureaucracy, because they've proven with the King's Speech that if they want, they can overrule those because by the book it's 4 Fs and you're a 15, but there's loads more than that. There's 12 Fs in the King's Speech and it's a 12.
Steve, what do you think about the whole swearing issue in the film?
To be honest, I didn't really think that I swore that much. Generally, so it did kind of surprise me when I watched it, but it's in conversation with Sean, and it's not aggressive, it's not aimed at anybody, it's just in my everyday speech, and sometimes it comes out when I'm a little bit stressed when I'm talking to Sean, but none of it's offensive, none of it's aimed at anybody or anything. It's just me in conversation, like saying that I feel fed up or something's not gone right, and yeah, it's just how I speak every day. I mean, my daughter picks me up on it. My daughter's 8, but she always says to me, "Daddy, that's naughty," and then she says to me, "Daddy, I won't repeat it." So it depends on how you parent your children, I think, because I mean, I hear kids in Hull of 10 effing and jeffing every day down Allenby Road, so they are used to a language. It's just the Hull language, I think. So
it's not the Hull, it's the country's language. It's just that the censors are not accepting that.
Yeah, and I relate it to the watershed. Like, there's a lot of language on TV after 9 p.m, but that's still in the control of the parents, whether they let their children watch it or not. So I don't see the difference, really.
And parents that came to the screening with the kids when we went Kids Go Free in Hull, they would bring some middle class families were bringing them. The mother was kind of saying to us, we would never allow swearing in the house, and the kids know they could never swear in the house, but it doesn't stop us bringing them to see a film with swearing in it, because they know the rules, and as long as you lay the ground rules clearly.
Now, coming back to the main theme of your film, the fact that it's about poverty, and more specifically about in-work poverty.
Yeah, there was a big discussion at BAFTA the other day with the annual poverty lecture with the Joseph Rowntree Foundation. That was part of the debate about in-work poverty. We're going to a screening tomorrow night with the Resolution Foundation. I think Tom Watson from the Labour Party, Deputy Culture Minister, is going to be there. And that's definitely on the agenda. It's all about in-work poverty and how many people are in work but are in poverty. There are more jobs than ever, but they're not making it viable for people to live.
Steve, that must make you feel incredibly angry.
Yeah, I just find it really sad, really, that people go to work and work their hardest for 40 hours a week, and the only people that are benefiting from it are the companies that they're working for. The actual workers, scrimp and scrape to get by. And as you see in the movie, I was living on about £100 a month after I'd paid everything out, and it was just a real struggle. So I feel sorry for people who was in the same position and are in the same position as I was, because it makes you miserable and it makes you sad.
Now, you've been touring with the film for a little while now. How has that been for you?
It's been really great, the reception from the film has been brilliant, loads and loads of positive feedback, and yeah, it's like a different world for me. So it's been exciting, it's been tiring, but overall it's just been great, and meeting people and just like sharing the experience with them and then getting their feedback. And I've met loads of like really nice people along the way, and like I've been messaging them and stuff. So yeah, overall it's been a massively positive experience for me, and yeah, quite fun and quite exciting.
And the Beat Bus is still going on?
Yeah, so the Beats Bus is, we're doing good. We've just sealed a 12-month contract with Goodwin in Hull to do a youth music project. Yeah, some bit of sustainability for us. And today the tutors have been doing workshops in a place called Bridgeview, which is a school for underachieving children in Hull, and as they say, a naughty school. So we've been doing some workshops with them, and we've had feedback from them like this kid never gets involved with anything, and today he's been so involved, and it's great to see him like that. And yeah, it's just the Beats Bus is doing really well.
You've been listening to the Docs and More podcast with Lovejeet Dhaliwal. If you enjoyed the show, review and subscribe to the series.